What's poppin', everybody? Welcome to Top 5 Comics, November 2024. We're coming roughly a week later than this than what we typically plan to do, but we're here. I started to say we're queer, but that's not true. We're queer. We're happy.
We're happy.
I think that's
exactly.
Yes. We're a little weird too.
We're young and gay. We're mildly young and gay.
Mildly, you know what? That's going to be the book that we write. Mildly young and gay. Drew, how are you?
I am fantastic. I'm very mildly young and gay. How are you?
Yeah, I don't feel so young, but I suppose I am in fact young, and I guess I am gay too. So why not? Why not? It's freaking December 17th. I can't believe already half of this month is gone, and I can't believe that we're less than 10 days away from Christmas.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Next week is Christmas.
You shut your mouth. Have you finished your shopping?
Yeah, actually, I finished the last of it last week. I got in my last gift last week for my mother. It's a special gift. I showed my brother Kyle. I wanted to confirm it with him first, and he digs it. So yeah, I am feel very good where I'm at with the gifts. What about you?
Nice. I'm mostly done. I've got a few things that I still need to get. I think the high priority on that is my dad, but he's one of those that he has everything. So
gift
it's
card.
Yeah, exactly. Which I always feel bad about, but
no, you can't. It's honestly, I feel like the way it's with some of my one of my other brothers, where it's like, I don't know what the fuck he's gonna do with this. If I give him, he's probably gonna throw it away. So you know what? Gift card. He's not gonna throw away free money. I know that.
Did you hesitate to cuss?
Yes.
I was like, did he stutter or did he hesitate?
Oh, I hesitated.
That was great. My dad, if you get him a Bass Pro Shop gift card, he's over the moon happy because that's money he doesn't have to spend on fishing stuff. So
it's not just fishing stuff. You've been to a Bass Pro Shop? That's a pretty awesome shop.
Oh yeah, no, I know, but he's gonna spend it on fishing stuff. He's gonna. Cool. Yeah, he'll find a lure, a worm or a crankbait or something that he likes, and he doesn't just buy one. He buys the box that they come in to the retailer for them to put out on the sales floor.
When I was stationed down at Eglin Air Force Base down at Destin, Florida, they had a massive Bass Pro Shop. It was a huge shopping mall thing. They had a huge this indoor aquarium. They had all these deep sea fish in and everything. It was insane.
Yeah, the best is we're getting one in our town. Well,
ooh, really?
Yeah, and wow. My dad was like, all those years working retail, then you had to stop. I'm like, okay, sorry, I'm not getting you a discount. My bad.
It's like you like Bass Pro, you like it so much. Why don't you work there prior time? How about that?
Okay, so not a joke. He's considering it because he's retired. He's like, I bet they have some type of greeter, something
yes.
like that. I was like, you know what, Dad? Why not? Why not? Kill some time, make a little money while you're at it.
Yeah, keep your wife sane. Get out of the house. So there you go.
For sure. Well, we have a pretty full show tonight. So as everyone can see, we're doing our top 5 comics. We're covering the comics that came out in November 2024. As a reminder, I will be covering the debuts, so books that debuted in November 2024. Drew is going to cover our overall comics, the best comics of 2024. And once again, we're proving to you that we don't know how to count. But that's a good problem to have.
Absolutely. It's to have a year when there is some good stuff, more than the required amount. That's a good thing.
Yeah, we were just kind of talking about how we're trying to pull together our top and bottom list for Max's channel that we're gonna do early January, and I'm really struggling to figure out what I want where, and then I'm kind of pulling oh shit, I never read this and I need to read it. Nottingham, and then I'm hearing about other books from other people, and I'm like, oh god, this is gonna suck balls. So, in a good way, in a good way.
Yeah, it's tough because like you said, I mean, I looked at my list of top 10 of the year, and I'm like, son of a bitch! It's just like all of this. It's just like where does this all go? I don't know.
Yeah.
So much good stuff.
I'm glad we're spitting. I'm glad we're splitting it up into 2 shows, the bottom and then the top. And I'm glad we're having 10 honorable mentions for that because I need it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be, yelling at Max that we need a bigger list. Before we get into our picks for the month, I do want to just run through the chat real quick and say hello to everyone. We have Zach's in the house. First comment of the night with Rainbow. We've got Jamin D coming in with a rock on. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Cajun Corey's in the house. Evening, sir. Nice to see you here. Vex Electronica, 9:07 p.m. and not live, unsubbed.
So strict.
Our go live time was 8:05, and believe it or not, this was the first week that I was actually done with everything on time, not scrambling to finish slides or whatever might be going on. And I'm just chilling. And then Drew's like, hey, you gonna send me the link? And I'm like, that helps. That definitely helps.
A little bit.
Yeah, we had to discuss some tea because there's a book that's coming out that hasn't been announced that I had to get Drew's. I just needed to see his reaction.
Yeah.
So
it was jaw dropping to say the least.
Absolutely.
Celebration of mediocrity is what I call it.
Oh, for sure. We also have Ian Miller in the house, Miller number 1. Ian's been joining us for our book club, and we just had our latest episode drop last week where we covered X-Men God Loves Man Kills. So if you didn't check that out, go check it out. We also have Salty Traveling C in the house. Ho ho ho! Now I have a machine gun. What is that? Am I missing something?
Die Hard. No. Now I have...
Oh, okay. On board. I spaced out for a second. By the way, did you see where people are citing that new Netflix movie that's the airport as being
Taylor, I've heard of it. Taylor Edgerton.
Taron Egerton. Yeah. They're citing it as a better Die Hard, and I'm you sit on a throne of lies. Sit down and shut your mouth.
Exactly. I know. It's like I just pulled up that Will Ferrell meme from Anchorman. I don't believe you. It's just
I don't believe you. You know what? It makes me mad though because I just don't have the integrity to put stuff like that just to get clicks, and I know that's what they're doing. Those hoes.
Absolutely. I mean, because look, people if people in the chat or on Twitter or whatever, if you're watching us and you have never seen Die Hard, I'm just going to let you know, Die Hard is, no hyperbole, the greatest action film ever made. And to say someone has out Die Hard, I don't believe you.
Yeah, I don't believe you. You low down lying liar. We've got Gooch in the house, Mr. Diabolical Souls himself. Yo, what's up, everybody? What's up, Gooch? The man with the most luscious head of hair. Seriously, he's got really good hair and it makes me sick. And I think, oh no. Salty put wait for the Daisy Ridley Die Hard knockoff movie in 2020. Oh.
Wait, what? No.
That's going to be rough.
No, I'm hoping that is a cold joke.
You and me both.
I'm sure
it's
barely
not.
lift an iPod. How the hell is that possible?
It's a CGI gun, man. And he said no, it's real, so it's going.
Oh, God,
you know what? Maybe Daisy Ridley will be an okay actress outside of Star Wars. Maybe Star Wars is the problem. She's
had plenty of chances. She had that English Channel swimming film thing.
I don't know. I didn't watch it. I've literally seen nothing that she's in other than Star Wars.
Yeah, because I don't care for her as an actress. But hey, that's just me.
Yeah. So, all right. As I said, we do have a ton of books to get to. We're gonna start, as always, with our honorable mentions. And believe it or not, I actually have an honorable mention. But before I bring it up, I've got something else to bring up that I almost forgot about. So, Drew, you were supposed to be doing something, I think it was 2 days ago. Is that correct?
On Sunday. We were supposed to. I was supposed to be with the Comic Men on Whatnot, but who would have thought that the U.S. Postal Service they're not that reliable? Who'd have thought that?
Oh wow, who would have
Um,
thought?
yeah, but apparently my books arrived on time at the last
Hey,
minute, like that day. But the one of the other creators who's going to be in the show, his books didn't arrive in time. So his books finally arrived, I think, yesterday. So yeah, we got rescheduled to this upcoming weekend on the 22nd. So yeah, I'll be there at 8 p.m. on the Comic Man on the Whatnot channel. I'll be showing off and I'll be selling a lot of my personal collections, my comps from going as far back as Born of Blood, and all my Unholy Nightmare stuff. So when I say the Born of Blood stuff, I'm talking like the exclusive preview editions from New York Comic Con 2 years ago, like
yep.
the topless Ariel Diaz cover. I got
Ooh,
those. That very very rare and hard to come by. And some other medals from some Shikaris, and like I said, a lot of the other Unholy Nightmare covers I'm going to have in the sale too. So yeah, you don't want to miss out on these.
yeah, definitely. Some of those covers, I believe, are going for damn good prices on. Damn good for I mean for like they're high, not damn good
Yes.
of like great deal.
I
Like
do know specifically that topless Ariel Diaz, that is very, very hard to come by. That was a limited quantity at New York Comic Con 2 years ago, and I forget what they're going for, but it's at least three figures, at least $100.
nice, nice. So, if you've missed any of Drew's older stuff, or missed out on some covers that maybe you wanted but weren't at conventions, this could be your chance. 5 days from now, if you haven't spent all your Christmas money, why would you spend all your Christmas money on other people? I mean, go check out the
Season,
Whatnot and get some
like the
stuff.
season of giving.
Yeah, season of giving. Come on. Alrighty. So before I remembered that I had to do something that I didn't do, I'm prefacing this with I will say that overall for the month of November, I didn't feel like we had as many strong debuts as we've had like the past 2 to 3 months, which is okay.
I agree.
But there was one book that I was actually really happy, and it was a solid debut. And I was like, thank God, I feel like we finally got this character right after quite a few attempts of just butchering the character. And then I read the second issue and I was like, I'm taking this off my honorable mention list. And I was like, you know what? No, because I want a moment to say thank you for getting the character right. This is how you do it. So if anyone from DC Comics watches this, Batgirl #1 by Tate Bromble, Takeshi Miyazawa, and Mike Spicer. Thank you for giving me a Cassandra Cain that isn't having a ton of speech bubbles all over the place, but is having short, fragmented sentences, a lot of action, and a lot of internal dialogue that is also fragmented because she didn't learn how to speak right away. But it's all reading body language, and that's what I really enjoyed. Is you have panels where she's watching a character's weight or how they shift their weight, and there's a thought there that's kind of analyzing that. That's watching their breathing patterns, how their eyebrows move. It was a lot of little bitty inflections that's just Cassandra going, eyebrow raise, smirk, shifted to back foot. Like it's that stuff because that is her language. Body language is her language. So this book was her mother, Lady Shiva. Shiva comes to Gotham. Cass wants nothing to do with her. Shiva's saying, you have to come with me. You're in danger. And it's the two of them kind of slightly fighting it out, her not wanting to go. And then you have all these assassins show up. And it's a huge brawl. And at the very end of the issue, Cass is like, I can take care of myself, as you can see. And then Lady Shiva's like, these aren't the people you need to be concerned with. The people you need to be concerned with haven't even gotten here yet. And I was like, it looks like we're going to have a great book. And then I got to the second issue and I just was not a fan. I mean, it was fine, but it was such a step down in my book that I just had to be like, all right, you know what? We're just going to take this first issue. We're going to like it for what it is and go from there. And I pulled the variant cover because I think the variant cover is fantastic. But
is it Archer?
I believe so. I believe so. My internet's being weird, so I'm not going to look it up right now.
Mm.
Did you read this at all?
Yeah, I did. I distinctly remember recommending this with Wes on Thinking
Nice.
Critical. Yeah, we did. I read it. I enjoyed the first issue very much, and like I agree with you when I said in saying that it felt like a return to where Cassandra Cain should be. This
Yep.
is this is true to her roots and her origins and her character. And yeah, and then we got to the second issue, and I'm like, okay, this is a flight of stairs down. Uh, Not necessarily a step, but a whole flight of stairs. But hopefully it rebounds in issue 3. I'm not completely off the train, but I'll give it one more. I'll give it one more issue. I have that rule of 3. I like to give
Yeah,
things. So we'll see
that's
what
fair.
happens.
I will say I'm also not completely off the train, but my excitement has waned greatly. So, once you have a whole kitchen staff of kung fu fighters, I was like, man,
And then
come
they're actually
on.
and they start sitting down and eating and talking like,
Yeah.
God damn it, you couldn't help yourself,
Yep.
DC.
Yep.
You couldn't help yourself. Oh.
So, yeah. I mean, you know what? Good job with the first issue, but yeah, you're right. They couldn't. Maybe they'll get that out of their system, and then we'll go back to what they gave us in issue 1. We'll see. But that is my one honorable mention for the night. And then we'll go through your works, and then as a reminder, you do have an honorable mention that is in my top 5 list, so I've saved that for that point. Ooh. But your first book up is Superman number 20, written by Joshua Williamson with art by Dan Mora and colors by Alejandro Sanchez. We haven't really discussed Superman ever in our videos. So what happened to bring this up to the quality of like, hey, we need to be checking this out?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Like, this was the first issue of Superman I have enjoyed since DC Rebirth ended. We're talking like that issue of like the losers when they meet Sergeant Rock, like that last issue. And
Did
that's
you?
going.
I guess this is more of a technical question. Are we saying Superman as in the title or Superman in general? Because I didn't mind.
I'd say Superman in general. Like, don't get me
Okay.
look, Josh Williamson, he is a good writer, but his run on Superman so far, I'm just it's
Yeah.
all right. There are choices made for characters where I'm just like scratching my head. Like, I never would have done this with Lex Luthor. I never would have done this with Lois Lane. I never would have introduced Midnight Mary Moonshine, whatever the hell her name was. But anyway, regardless, moving on from that, this issue was fantastic. One thing I love in this story is what is going on with Doomsday and his new persona and mantle he's taken. I absolutely buy it. It makes sense to me. Dan Mora, however, I will say this is not his best work. I've seen enough of his work by now to see he was rushing to get this done. There are pages and panels I could tell, like, he was working pretty quick on this. But Dan Mora on his worst day, I'll take any day over Peach Momoko, Bruno Redondo, Phil Noto, or Riley Rossmo on their best days. This issue is action-packed, violent, quick-paced, wild. There's a terrific cliffhanger as well, and if you read Superman and Doomsday Hunter Prey back in the 90s, you should get a kick from this cliffhanger. The only thing I didn't understand was the red levels of Superman. I don't know if that's some new BS thing, like that supernova power they gave him in the New 52.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Maybe we'll get more info on this.
Yeah, maybe. This look, I haven't been reading Superman, so I'm pretty out of the loop here, but I'll definitely have to try to catch up or at least jump in now that we're in DC all in. But no, I was surprised to see this, but happy to see. Like, it's nice to see some books from the big two, kind of popping up. And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, they're the big two for a reason.
They're the big two for a reason. I completely agree. Your next honorable mention is Green Arrow number 18, written by Chris Condon with art by Montos and colors by Adriana Lucas. Again, completely out of left field. Didn't see this coming. Why is it here?
So yeah, I like this. I'm not a big fan overall of the setup where he's broke and semi-depressed, but it's like, okay, I can kind of go with this. It's not the Oliver Queen I like in that sense, but I love the art and I love that he's on the hunt. The art in this issue is fantastic. I think by Montos, he's amazing, and the Green Arrow costume in this series, this is a huge upgrade and the best costume since before the New 52. I love this costume of Green Arrow. It is near perfect. Green Arrow hunting down a serial killer. It's simple and fun enough to follow along with terrific art that I'll be back to check out the next issue. As long as we don't lean too heavily into Oliver being broke and depressed. So, but yeah, this is a fun recommend.
It's just Oliver sitting at a table by himself. He's not eating with anyone. He's not even eating. He's got the bottom shelf liquor because it's the cheapest he could get. That's what's coming.
Yeah, he's looking at it's like Major Payne looking at a mouse crawl by on a windowsill. God, I'm hungry.
I haven't seen that movie in so long. I gotta revisit that. 1, don't you look dumb.
2, look at
you. Speaking of look at you, third honorable mention coming in from Drew tonight is Conan Battle of the Blackstone #4, written by Jim Zub, art by Jonah Sharf, and colors by Jonah Sharf. So I'm just gonna say I enjoyed this. However, I was expecting a little more from it, and I felt like it wrapped rather quickly.
Yes,
but it's good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll just say it's good. It's not great. It's not bad. It's good. So in this issue, we're down to six heroes now against the Eldritch Unknown. And in this issue, we get to learn more about the past of our characters. There's a lot of great dialogue in this between Conan and Brissa when we see where they came from, and we learn their beliefs, their fears, and such. And one of my favorites is Solomon Kane and Dark Agnes. Solomon Kane's my boy, and I love how he's written in this. There's a great line of dialogue that is so true to Solomon. It's wherever or whenever we are, all I know is that it must be God's will. Perfect. Love it.
Yep.
That is Solomon Kane. Dig it. Brave line of dialogue in today's world. Kudos to Jim. But by the end of this, let's just say things don't go according to plan for our heroes. And you could say that the fit has hit the shan. And this is a fun issue, in my opinion.
Nice. Agreed. Fun issue. Again, if I had, and I think I said this on Max's show one week, if there's one thing I would say is that I wish we had another issue or two, and look, I know I'm kind of jumping ahead, but I wish there would have been another issue or two in the run to let some of the action breathe out and, just happen more.
I agree. Yes, that's where it was, I felt like it was lacking.
Yeah. But again, like that's my main gripe is I wanted more. So good problem to have. Next up on our honorable mentions, we have Nemesis Rogues Gallery #4, written by Mark Miller, art by Valerio Giordano. I always say that name so weird, and colors by Lee Loffridge. Again, another fun book. I'm still uncertain about how I feel about the sidekick, but I'm on board.
Yeah, in this issue itself, this was the payback issue from the victims of Nemesis.
Yeah,
we got them trying to throw him off mentally, visually, and physically in this issue, and him and his sidekick at least. And it is a bloody, violent, chaotic, and insane fight. And I love all the different weapons that are used. And on top of that, the art in this is so damn beautiful. Valerio, he is terrific. And on top of that, it's not often that we see Nemesis outgunned, outmanned, and struggling, but it actually happens in this issue. With the real twist we discovered is that there may have been another sidekick in the past of Nemesis. Mark Miller is kicking ass, no pun intended, once again. Every series he's done has been at least solid, and to damn good to potentially great. This is a solid recommend.
Agreed. It's going to be, I know we mentioned doing our top 10s and having the 10 honorable mentions for Max's channel. And I was like going through it today and I was like, you know what? These top 10 lists this year really should be for the 10 worst, which X books will not end up in the top 10 and will instead end up in honorable mentions. And then for the top 10 best, it's like, which Mark Miller books and which Ghost Machine books won't end up in our top 10 or like
that's where I'm at. And honestly,
holy
I'm
cow.
glad you said that, because Josh, the since we've been doing this is the hardest top 10 list I've had to come up with.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm like rereading through things at a furious pace because I'm paranoid I'm gonna miss something good.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, Mark Miller, and I've said this on the show before. Ever since he came back, he's always been solid. But ever since he came back into comics with King of Spies, it's just like one after the other. He is just knocking it out of the park. And yes, some are better than others, but they're all excellent.
Yeah, exactly. They're all. I was gonna say at least solid.
Yeah.
2 in the far end, potentially great. 3.
Yeah. And just like the track record. I mean, as a writer, like
Yeah.
you don't typically knock it out of the park pretty much every time, and he's pretty much knocking it out of the park with each book. So
I would say really the only one of the few dings I got on his record is probably Trouble, but that was what 20 some odd years ago. He's learned since then.
That was the
That's the Aunt May,
book, right?
and yes.
Oh, Summer of Love.
Yes, it
Young,
was.
sexy Aunt May getting down and dirty. Oh, that was a book. That if you haven't read that, go. I'm not encouraging you to read it, but you should go check it out because it's freaking hilarious.
That in Marvel.
Yes. And if you can't find it or you don't want to spend money on it, Perch did a like retrospective of it a couple of years ago, and it was hilarious.
I gotta find. I don't think I watched his retrospective. I gotta find it.
It's great because he's just talking you through the plot line, and it's Perch. It's just Perch being Perch talking you through the plot line. So it was fantastic. But Salty said Rogues Gallery has truly been great. Yeah, agreed. And it's violent, it's brutal. And I know you're talking about Valerio and his artwork, but he manages to make the characters so menacing, especially Nemesis, but like his eyes are just
that's where it's at. He nails the eyes every time, and some of them they're just chilling.
Oh, agreed. We're going to move on to the next honorable mention pick, and that is Spider-Man Reign 2, number 5, the finale of the most audacious and shocking miniseries in Spider-Man history. It's written by Carrie Andrews, with art by Carrie Andrews, and colors by Brian Reber.
Sure.
Look, I'll be honest. I've said this since the first issue. This has not been for me. You've enjoyed it. I know a lot of other people that have enjoyed it, and it was on our list at first, and then it kind of fell off for you, and now it's back here at the ending. So that tells me that Kari stuck the landing.
Yeah, he did. This issue is it's the final showdown between the Kingpin and Spider-Man. Will he survive? Will he prevail? Will the Green Goblin and his minions intervene? Will Miles Morales be able to help out? You gotta read to find out. I'm not going to spoil it at all. But yeah, like you said, I enjoyed this series. I know, like you, not many people did. It's understandable. But I had a blast with this. It's action-packed. It's traumatic, and has a lot of heart to it, too. Carrie Andrews, he is a fantastic artist. You cannot take him away. You cannot knock him for that. He is a solid storyteller. I think he's getting better. And he did a really good job here, and he really stuck the landing. And in issue 3 of this series, he draws almost exactly like 1990 Todd McFarlane. It scared the shit out of me. It just how he illustrated Spider-Man and Mary Jane. I had to look back. I hunted, Josh. I hunted. And after I found Tobey Maguire's dick, I found some Todd McFarlane art.
Okay, carry on.
I was quoting what's his name? The guy from Collider. It's like, I hunted. But anyway, back.
Yeah.
Carry on. Yeah, carry on. I thought you would have gotten that.
I missed it.
There's this video of me was like, I hunted for Tobey Maguire's dick, and
Lord, I don't know how I of all people missed that, but I missed that at some point.
I was looking through Todd's old art on Spider-Man from 1990, and like he illustrated exactly like Todd in issue 3, and it scared everything from the layouts to Spidey to Mary Jane to Venom. Yeah, I love it, and I love his stuff, and I love the ending to this. Or is it an ending? That's all I'm going to say.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice. I will. So I haven't been reading, so I can't speak to that issue and the art. But I do love when an artist kind of just drastically changes up their art for like a flashback or to emanate like a different scene or maybe like a children's drawing or something. Because I feel like it really shows how talented they are. Because I think some artists they can only draw their way and that's it. And then you see other artists and their art is kind of forever changing and evolving, and they're showing different textures and shades of how they approach their artistic storytelling. And I always think that's fascinating. So, yeah, I don't know. I might go back and check this out in trade form once it fully gets released.
So no joke. I think this is better than Spider-Man Reign Volume 1. I enjoy this much more. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, if you're like me and you only read the first issue and you're like, yeah, no, I'm good. Maybe go back and check out the run. Moving on to our next honorable mention, we have Space Ghost number 7, written by David Pepose with art by Jonathan Lau and colors by Andrew Dahlhaus. I still have not read this. However, I did pick up the trade and I'll be reading it to determine if it's going to show up in my top 10 or honorable mentions. So with that being said, go ahead and tell us about this book. And you know what? There's a lot of people that kind of fall in our same area where we're not the biggest fans of David Pepose for various reasons. Mm-hmm. And, we've all kind of been pretty steadfast in saying this is a good book.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, if you put down on the table a copy of his Punisher run in Space Ghost, you would think they were two completely different writers. Like, who the hell is this guy? All I know is the guy who's writing Space Ghost, I want to party with this guy. This guy is awesome. And how so in this issue specifically, Space Ghost and his crew are stuck on a planet where animals are able to speak, and humans are having a more difficult time communicating and thinking. You just see like they're regressing in their intelligence trying to communicate. But then you have Blip. He's able to communicate, eloquently to the kids, and they're trying to guide them along the way to help save the day. So it's Blip's moment to shine in this issue. It's fun. It's a very fun issue. This series has been so much fun. It's well paced, well written, action packed, dramatic, and my God, so well illustrated. Jonathan Lau is. I know I said the word superstar a lot, but Jonathan Lau is a legitimate superstar, and I know one day, hopefully, he will be on Batman or Superman. This is his audition tape.
Yeah, I mean, look, and I thought about this earlier while pulling the slides together the other day, but it's like he's one of those artists now that it's like I'm surprised, and I don't mean this in a demeaning way, but I'm surprised these smaller publishers can afford you.
Yeah,
because he is that good, and I get he's still building his career, but I mean he's a relatively. I mean, even though he's younger, he's a relatively known name at this point. Like, he's done so much good work.
And he's done all 7 issues. You know how hard that is anymore?
Oh.
To let alone do 3 issues before you have to take a break?
What do you mean? On Absolute Batman, they did 3 issues before needing a fill-in artist. Come on.
And like Ultimate Spider-Man only had a few issues before they had to fill in artists.
They had 2. Didn't they just have 2 issues?
Yes, 2 issues.
Oh my God. That's the stuff that pisses me off. I'm like, you can't even get through a 6-issue arc. I don't know. Like, if that's going to be the case, do what Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok are doing for Rook Exodus. Give yourself enough of a leeway, start early enough in advance that you can get your 6-issue run, knock it out, take your little breather, and then come back with like volume 2 or whatever. But God, like that annoys the hell out of me.
Yeah. But to do interior, this, I'm sure with your talks with artists, to do interiors, that it takes a lot of love to do interiors.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of work.
A lot of work, a lot of time, and a lot of love. And I think Jonathan Lau, right now, from what I'm saying, he loves doing this, and like I said, he is a superstar in the making. And do not be surprised if he's on Batman or Superman in the future,
Yeah.
because he will be there.
Yeah, I will say, especially if you're working with some major publishers, there's a lot of times that if you don't have the best writer, at least, and I mean that in terms of they don't consider or think of their artists. You have writers coming in either like right at deadline or after deadline, which means the artists then have to rush their work, and it just sucks because I mean drawing these comics within like 30 days is hard enough as it is, and if you suck as a writer and are terrible and give your artists 20 or 15 days, then you're screwing yourself at that point. But yeah, like I know we knock on art a lot, and I don't genuinely think it's always the artist that stinks. Sometimes it's just a situation.
Yeah, you're 100% right, and really it because I mean the writer and the editor should be, their feet should be held to the fire as well, because the writer and editor, they're deciding how many panels and how complicated pages are.
Yep.
And look, okay, so full disclosure, one of the books I'm doing, it was an 8-page preview, and we've got like a set that this book has to get done: pencils, inks, colors, letters, 3 weeks, 8 pages. That's a lot of undertaking, in some cases.
Mhm.
And in this case, we had I knew with that deadline that with some of these pages, I cannot have 7 panels, 6 panels. I know I got to have some splashes to make it easier for the artist, to make it quicker, quicker and easier. So I did that, and what do you know? We got these bad boys done, and you know what? They look fucking amazing. And I'm gonna put these pages up against anything Marvel and DC have.
Are they the pages that you sent me like 2 days ago?
Mayhaps.
Okay. Then yes, I agree. They look freaking. I'm not gonna say any names. I'm just gonna say I love this artist and I think he's great.
Just know this artist, he's going to have at least 5 different projects coming out next year.
Yeah,
that I've written. So
I will throw this. If you've watched the Top 5 Comic Show regularly or any of my other shows, I've referenced that Drew is working with an artist that, thank God, he draws backgrounds, and I will stand behind that. And his work looks freaking amazing, and I can't wait for this stuff to come out. Anyways, let's not run the risk of talking about things we're not supposed to talk about. And
stay on target.
Yes, stay on target. Speaking of fantastic artists, Jonathan Lau, ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Lau. Alrighty, moving on to our next honorable mention. I don't know why I cut that off. Sheesh. We've got Flash Gordon #4, written by Jeremy Adams, who we're going to be singing a lot of praises of tonight. Art by Will Conrad and colors by Lee Loffridge. Again, another fun book, and I feel like a broken record saying this. I've never been particularly drawn to Flash Gordon, and I'm really enjoying this book. It's a ton of fun. It's great pacing, great energy, and like it's got enough weight that you care, but it's still just really fun.
Yeah, I agree. And like you just said, Josh, what I knew the most, what I drew the most from when I was younger was the Flash Gordon film. That's what I saw. And I didn't read any of the comic strips or anything growing up. But I just knew that if you're going to do a comic book series on Flash Gordon, you need to make him look cool. You need to make him look like a badass. And don't get me wrong, I like Jeff Parker, but he didn't make him he didn't make him cooler or badass in 2014. In the series before that, they didn't really do that either. It wasn't until now, Jeremy Adams, Will Conrad, they made this a kick-ass action book. And I have flippin' loved every single issue. Jeremy Adams has nailed it. He's nailed the tone. He's nailed the voice of Flash Gordon. And in this issue in particular, I loved it. The first several pages of this, it's a full-on chase in space. It's perfect. That's what Flash Gordon should be. And it's beautifully illustrated by Will Conrad. On top of that, we got Ming and Flash working together. Hero and villain. What are they going to do? Oh, my God. And the banner between the two is terrific as well. And on top of that, there's a new character brought into the story, a certain robot, and there's something going on with him. I don't want to spoil it, but I think he may have ties to a certain scientist in the Flash Gordon lore. And they eventually get to a planet, and you need to read to find out what happens next. That's all I'm going to say.
Is it Bill Nye the Science Guy?
I was going to say ill. Why?
Oh.
No.
No.
Josh, if you had told me 3 years ago that two of the best books of the year would be Conan and Flash Gordon, I would have said you're full of shit. But
Fair.
yeah, we're now living in a world where the pulps are kicking ash.
Yeah. Completely agree. And look, again, I just think this is kind of a testament to Jeremy Adams, his ability as a writer. We're kind of getting to see different. We're getting to see more of his range, and not only that, but he's consistently good. And for me, that is like the true testament of a writer. Is when I'm reading books consistently and they're all entertaining and high value or like good quality, then I know like, all right, this is an artist that I can trust. I can go out and purposely find their stuff, and I feel confident with it. So kudos to him for
I got comments to add to what you just said. I'll save it for when we may talk about another book he's written.
Okay, perfecto. Coming in next, we have Batman Full Moon #2, written by Rodney Barnes with art by Steven Subic, who also delivers the colors where there are colors. I'm going to be honest, I loved the first issue. I have not read the second issue yet. I know, I'm sorry, I'm behind. I blame Max. It's that degenerate Maxfield Von Priestley with his stupid top 10. I'm kidding. I'm actually having fun with the top 10 list, but I am behind on some things that have come out recently. I feel like you enjoyed the first issue, but weren't like over the top about it. Is that
I didn't read the first issue?
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So
yeah.
You've now read the first issue and you've read the second. Tell me what you're liking about the book.
Yeah, I regretfully admit, I didn't get to read the first one initially. I wasn't expecting good things because, hey, Batman as a whole has not been a good reading experience all around.
No.
However, I am proud to say I fixed myself and I read this, and Rodney Barnes does a fun job of portraying a Bruce Wayne Batman trying to do whatever he can to fix his ailment, to fix his predicament.
Yeah.
Magic, science, whatever he can do. And he does not want this burden, clearly. Does it work? You got to read to find out. But yeah, the art in this, my God, Steven Subic, he is a phenomenal artist. And
Agreed.
how he illustrates the magic, the werewolves, the violence, it's all beautiful and first rate. It's a unique enough style that I can't see him doing Batman, but like Detective Comics, or like a Legends of the Dark Knight, I can see him doing that.
I would kill to get another Legends of the Dark Knight series. Honestly, if it was just stuff like this. Like, I mean, I get they get the pops of having just Batman Full Moon #1, but I wish they would just do another Legends of the Dark Knight series, and all these, one-off stories that these creators have, just let them publish it through there. And if you got enough of these back to back, that series would absolutely kill. Because I agree with you, Batman has not been great at all. By the way, if you want a good laugh, I've been tuning into some top 10 lists that YouTubers and stuff have put out, just to see if there's any books I need to read that I've completely missed out on. I found one that I need to read. But I was listening to a list earlier, and they had Chip Zdarsky's Batman as their #2 book of the year, and I was like, "Oh, wow!"
You've lost all credit.
I agreed right there. Boom, thank you. But no, I read this and I was like, "Dang, this is tonally like this is the best Batman we've had in a while." So,
and like I said, the art is banger. Or Steven Subic is fucking unreal. This guy's insane.
Absolutely. Completely agree. I need to fix myself and catch up with these issues because they are, it's good. It's so good. Moving on, we have Transformers #14, written by Daniel Warren Johnson with art by Jason Howard and colors by Mike Spicer. The fate of Starscream revealed. honestly the MVP of the book, in my opinion, like the whole series so far. Tell me your thoughts on this issue, Drew.
Oh, so like you said, we get more into the origins of Starscream, but this issue has one of the funniest and coolest panels involving Starscream, and I honestly can't wait for this toy to come out. I love it, and like I'm sure that Aaron is probably pre-ordering it or making it himself. I laugh my ass off, and I love it, and I love how Starscream flips out when one person draws his proportions incorrectly, and even better, he sees a cat and wants to kill it. Why? Because we know cats are evil. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with this issue. Transformers 14, guys, do check this out.
Do you think that's why Max hated this issue?
I think so. Yeah.
Probably. What a joke.
Yeah.
What a loser. Speaking of people that aren't losers, we have Roman of the Empire in the chat. What's up, Roman? Ahoy,
Roman.
sir. Nice to see you. And I think, Drew, that is our last honorable mention.
Woo!
And it's time to get into our actual top 5. So we are getting to the point where we know how to count. It's exciting. And we're going to kick off with my number 5 book for the month. And number 5, I know we shit on this publisher, but there have been a few things I've read that I enjoy. And I've got a distillery book, but it's One for Sorrow, number 1, written by Jamie McKelvey. I didn't really expect anything from this. It takes place in the 1900s. I think the fact that it took place in that time period kind of helped give this book a little bit of a boost, because visually it made it interesting. But you kind of have this vigilante anti-hero character called the Magpie that's murdering these people, which I know sounds awful, but there's a mystery there that you know that it's tied to, and then there's a character that's like a medium, and she's kind of the one that's relaying information from people that have passed, that are dead. So it was a really kind of weird occult like vigilante type story with honestly incredible art, except for one thing. There's one thing I hate about the art. What do you think it is, Drew?
It's that Plague Doctor mask?
No, it is the freaking backgrounds, because there are panels where the backgrounds are super detailed, and then you'll have a page where like every background is just a blanket color.
Oh,
and I'm like, bro, it's again, it's probably an instance where they ran out of time. So like, hey, colors wise, and Jamie McKelvey's doing all the art. So kudos, like you're writing and doing art great. But man, it's noticeable. But overall, solid story, strong writing, really well developed characters, really interesting supporting characters. I just kind of, I think it's one of those things where I expected nothing from it and ended up enjoying the reading experience. So kudos. I know you're not going to go pick up a distillery book.
Absolutely not. But yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that don't actually, and it's something that my comic shop owner, he's read a few of these distillery books where he said, you know what, these are actually really good books, but he can't sell them because of their size, the format. They're that prestige format, and people just will not buy it. So
you gotta get the specific bags and boards. You gotta get the specific short boxes for them.
Yep, I heard from a little birdie that DC is gonna stop doing that format as well.
Good.
So good. Just throwing that out there. We're going to move on to your number 5 pick for November 2024, and it is G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, number 311. Now, if you're hearing G.I. Joe, and I don't know why I put the periods there, but regardless, you might be thinking, is this the new one? But no, this is number 311. This is the Larry Hama book. This is the book that's been coming out for a while. So my question to you, Drew, is this in line with the new Energon universe, and what's making it so good?
So your first question, that's a negative, Ghost Rider. It is not in line with the Energon universe. And actually, you had left off one of our honorable mentions. It was G.I. Joe number 1. But
no, I didn't. I said I was saving that for my list.
God damn it. Okay.
It's okay.
Okay. Anyway, So it's not in the Energon universe. So this is the original, the OG GI Joe, Real American Hero, written by the OG himself, Larry Hama, and Chris Mooneyham is back on the art. He's back, baby, and this issue is wall to wall action. And what makes this issue great is that yes, it's the Joes versus the Cobras, but the Cobras are splintering off in their own little factions, including Serpentor. And then you have the Joes kind of splintering off in their own little groups. So there's fights on like 4 different fronts going on in this damn book. It is massive in scale, and it's all beautifully told and illustrated by Hama and Mooneyham. Mooneyham, it's great to have him back in the book because, God, he is fantastic. He was born to do G.I. Joe, and I can't recommend this enough. G.I. Joe has never been in a better position than it is right now.
Yeah, I will agree. So Mooneyham did art for Nightwing for a little bit, and I was not the biggest fan of him on that book, but I agree. I feel like he's built to draw G.I. Joe, and I've actually loved what he's doing here. He delivers really solid kinetic action, but also like badass action.
Badass
Like, you read
action.
it and you're like, yeah.
Like the horrific monsters, like doing like those zombified creatures. I'm like, this guy's awesome. I love this guy.
Yeah. Like you see his art and you look like the character here. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So
he draws them exactly how they should be, and it's fantastic. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I did not read this issue. I was reading it, and then he took his like hiatus and then kind of stopped reading it for a little bit, and I didn't realize he was back on. So I'm gonna have to get back into the swing of things here. But great choice. I'm happy to see it in your top 5. And for those of you that didn't catch, Drew mentioned that we missed an honorable mention, which we did and we didn't. We missed it in his lineup, but it's coming later for one of my debuts. But I just want to point out that you put this over that book, and we'll talk about that book in a little bit. But I think that's honestly quite a testament to the quality of this book. So kudos there. We're gonna move on to our number 4 picks for the month of November. And coming in number 4 for me in the debuts, I've got JSA number 1, written by Jeff Lemire with art by Diego. Oh man, Alortegui, that guy, Diego.
Yeah.
Listen, if you watch this, Diego, I apologize. Just let me know how to pronounce your name, and I'll do better next time. And Luis Guerrero. Now, I thought this was a solid book. And there's a couple of things that are really one. I love a lot of these characters that are here, and I'm happy we're getting them without a lot of pandering. And I'm referring to one specific character who may or may not be a Green Lantern, who may or may not had his. Wait, was that book also this year?
Yes, it was.
Fuck. Okay, I've got to factor that in. Jesus Christ.
Well, we gotta beat these assholes, Josh.
Oh man. Anyway, there are a lot of characters. I'm so mad right now. There are a lot of characters in this that I'm happy to see. And I'm a big fan of Jeff Lemire. And I think I may have gone into this with too high of expectations, because I don't want to say I was let down, but it's like, okay. And I think some of that is the book. Jeff Lemire isn't always like I'm going to knock you out right out of the gates with my books. And there's a lot happening and going on here. I was just hoping for more of a hook, and I didn't really get it, but it's still a solid book with solid writing.
Yeah, I thought it was solid. I thought it was all right. It's a lot of, he's not used, well, wouldn't say that, but it's a lot of characters to juggle and a lot of different personalities, and you got like older and younger characters. So
Correct.
It can be difficult figuring out those voices and those relationships. I'll say
Yes.
that, especially with this group.
And I will say, I think that potentially could be a good draw for the book, is that you have the older and the younger, like, because I think a lot of attempts recently have tried to do one or the other, and I think you're kind of segregating certain audiences at that point, especially when you leave out the older characters.
Yes.
But I applaud him, because again, it's a lot of characters to try to bring into the mold, and it could very easily just be lifeless, and it wasn't lifeless, but I'm curious to see where it goes, and I just wish it would have had a little more oomph in the first issue than it did. But I'm reading, I'm gonna keep following it. I have high hopes for this, and Jeff Lemire usually proves that he can tell a long form story. So excited for that. I need to highlight Fiend Machine because I was referencing a certain character, a certain Green Lantern character, and he goes, a certain character who may have met strange men by docks at one point. Listen.
DC has a thing about the gay characters being down at docks or living on boats.
You
so
act like they turned Tim Drake gay and moved him to the. Oh wait.
Or is that because the writer herself was living on a boat? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I will never forget when we were pulling interviews and I pulled that video of Megan Fitzmartin and I sent it to y'all. And then I think it was actually you. It was either you or Kyle.
I said it. Yeah.
You're like, wait, does she live on a boat? And I was like, holy shit. Yeah. So good times. Good times. And what a crazy freaking interview that was. Anyway.
Literally crazy. Yes.
Yeah. I will say with JSA, because I know it sounds like the description I gave is negative, and it's not. It's a solid book. I did enjoy it. And I think if you want these classic characters to feel like they're more true to form than maybe what you've seen recently, this is definitely a book to go check out. And I completely agree with Drew. You've got so many characters in two different generations of these JSA characters, and trying to find the mix isn't the easiest task, but it's a solid enough start that I'm willing to definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Moving on to your number 4 pick, we have got Hyde Street number 2, written by Jeff Johns with art by Ivan Rice and Danny Mickey with colors by Brad Anderson.
All stars right there.
All stars. Now, you weren't, I might be mixing you up with Kyle. I feel like you weren't as crazy about the first issue. Like the first issue starts incredibly well and then kind of like meanders a little bit.
Yes. That's what I thought. I thought issue 1 was okay.
Yeah. But then you have Devour, which we both thought was really good.
Yes.
And then we've got Hyde Street number 2. So tell me about this book. Why did this issue make it into your top 5?
Oh boy, this damn kid. Yeah, I really love this character, this kid. This issue is really good. We learn a lot about our resident Boy Scout on Hyde Street and how he earns his merit badges. And they're not nice. There's a particular cop in that cover as well. It's a little homage to Norman Rockwell that's brought into this issue. And will he be stopping the kid? You got to read to find out, because I don't want to spoil it. I got to give out the shout out to Ivan Reis, because his art in this issue is incredible. We get an homage to a Norman Rockwell painting, some beautifully illustrated fires and monsters. And this is the guy who actually took the time to look at a cop's uniform and his equipment belt. It's all perfect. How do I know this? Because my brother was a cop, and he had all the exact same equipment in the exact same spots. And he did his research. Such a novel concept, Josh. Yeah, this is a strong recommendation. I highly encourage everyone to check this out.
Agreed. And I will agree with you on the art. I think in a lot of ways, Ivan's giving or delivering some of his best art. Because I've been trying to figure out how to explain this. He's always been an incredible artist. Like, yes. That's never been a question.
No.
But in a lot of ways, I got used to that. I saw Ivan's art and I knew it was Ivan's art, and it was what I expected. And in some ways, he's delivering in different ways, and in some ways more than what we have seen from him, especially from the big two or DC in particular. And it just makes me think that Jeff Johns coming in, launching Ghost Machine, realized there are all these incredible talents, especially art-wise, that get hindered by these time schedules. And I feel like he set themselves up to get on these books, have more time to really just knock it out of the park. And if that's the case, kudos, because it makes such a huge difference. And great storytelling, creepy. You kind of got this whole Twilight Zone type of thing going on with the Hyde Street world that you've got your story and there's your main story that's going on, but you've got all these side, like every character kind of has
we learn what they're doing. We learn what their motivations are, what they have to do, and we learn that a certain character, he may have earned his way to leave High Street, but he may be sticking around. I don't want to say who, but there's a lot of answers to questions are produced in this issue.
Yeah, agreed. We have Maxfield Von Priestley in the house. What did I miss? Crying emoji. You've missed us shitting on you for the trauma that you're putting us through to do these freaking top 10 lists. Okay, that's what you've missed. Like, how dare you make us pick between some of these books? What is wrong with you?
How dare you?
How dare you? Kidding. Although we have talked a lot about that list. And honestly, the good problem that we're having with trying to just narrow this shit down. So go back, make sure. I know you'll end up rewatching, but you'll hear the conversation. So, but yes, all love. Also, real quick, just some comments on JSA. We have JK in the house. Hello, JK. Good to see you. JK put, I forgot JSA was even out. Some of these, DC's got a lot of solid stuff coming out right now. And first off, kudos. I'm glad you guys are trying to pull it together. Makes me incredibly happy. But man, I'm being reminded of how bad they are marketing their stuff. Because they have books right now that they should really be pushing, and you don't hear a word about it. It's just like, yep, here it is. Which is wild. And Fiend Machine came in with a JSA book with the actual JSA and not a Stealth Huntress book. Listen, you might think I'm offended, but I'm not. Do I have a Huntress shrine here? Yes, I do. And I've added to it. I'll have to post one picture on Twitter. But I'm not offended because that's Helena Wayne. And I'm not a Helena Wayne guy. I'm a Helena Bertinelli guy. But, and this is a note to Mr. McFarlane with his action figures, because your new Huntress action figure, we're segueing, we're ADDing for a little bit. Your new Huntress figure, which by the way has a man chin and no neck. You marketed as New 52 Huntress, and then on the card you had a description of Helena Bertinelli. That wasn't the New 52 Huntress, and that's not the New 52 Huntress that you have on the placard card. So get your shit together.
Anyways, so is it the old school Helena Bertinelli from pre-crisis?
Helena, no. So it's Helena Wayne. That's New
right,
52.
Yeah. Not Helena Bertinelli. Yeah.
Right. The Bertinelli that they introduced in the New 52 was the big scandal because they had her like mixed race, or they had her at least start off looking like she was darker with the curly hair, and people were like, oh my god, you turned her black. They're like, no, she's like Italian, but this region anyway. So he had the picture of the Helena Wayne, and that was the Helena that was the New 52 Huntress, but I couldn't help it. I got it and I was like, oh, come on.
Should have gone with the Batman Hush Jim Lee Huntress, because
I get that this is going to be the obvious statement coming from me. That's not my favorite costume. So I actually loved the 90s, 2000s. I actually loved this solid black. I thought it was such a sleek costume. But anyway, I understand why people like the legs and the midriff and the arms, being exposed.
It's a visual medium, Josh.
It is. It's just, that doesn't do anything for me. So, but yeah, JK Bertinelli is the best Huntress. Agreed. I wish they would get back on track with that character. So.
Yes, because that you want to talk about a shit stain on Jeff Johns' resume? It's that JSA run.
Gotcha.
Oof, man.
Yeah. Fiend Machine, I'm partial to the 90s pantless Huntress costume. That's fair. She had the whole bathing suit leotard thing at first, and then the mid 2000s, which is what Drew was talking about, which was her. I guess Hush was the debut of that costume, and then it went over into Birds of Prey. So.
It went to the Justice League United.
That's
series.
Right. Yep.
Booty, butt cheeks.
Where Amy Acker voiced her. So, yep. All right. Enough of a segue. Thank you for our Huntress little spiel. We're going to move on to our number 3 picks for November 2024. And coming in at number 3 for me is, I know, Drew, I'm sorry, don't be disappointed, but Justice League Unlimited number 1, written by Mark Waid. Clearly, he wrote this before the election. Art by Dan Moore and colors by Tamara Bonvillain.
Why, Josh? Whatever do you mean?
Well, there was an election and a certain person got elected. And then after that person was elected, Mark Waid had a temper tantrum on Twitter being like, I can't write superheroes now. I'm just going to give mediocre work.
Are you suggesting he threw his whole team and publisher under the bus?
That's exactly what I mean. He had a little temper tantrum and said he's not really going to write good superhero comics because how can he believe in superheroes anymore? And at that point, I was like, grow up, you're an adult. You're like 50-something years old, act like it.
Shit, I think it's closer to 60 at this point. Damn.
You're almost 60 years old, act like it.
Yeah.
But despite that, I will say he gave an excellent book, except for the last page here. And what I loved, and this is going to go back to my Batman news days, but I remember we used to have conversations about if we were writing books, and the guy that got the whole comic team started, my old boss Andrew, was always like, the Justice League shouldn't be like a set team of people. He's like, your Justice League should be your event book. Like, if you're going to have events, just have it in Justice League, but you should have rotating members and use them as needed for whatever the missions are. And you kind of have a core group that manages, kind of like they're not managers, but they're there actively trying to get their teams together.
Yeah, it's like Justice League United. It's like Unlimited from the animated series. You had your core, like 5 or 6, but then you had like the other ones who would come in for their own special episodes.
Right. And that's essentially what they do here. That's what he delivers. You have your core people that are experienced. You have your people that have partnered with the Justice League before, but maybe have never been on it. And then you have your people that are just brand new. So they're stepping into the big leagues. And they handled the book in such a good way. Like, there's a lot of action. It manages to give introductions without being like, here's walls of exposition for the sake of exposition. But it was fun. It was entertaining. Your heroes felt like heroes. They're working together. There wasn't stupid drama or melodrama. And it was a really nice voice. And they do some fun stuff with Red Tornado where they kind of make him like MCU Jarvis, but he's also like helping manage the missions. So kind of like an Oracle type aspect of, hey, kinda this is going on.
Kind of like in Young Justice Season 1. He was helping the young kids.
Correct. Yeah. But there's no physical body. It's just an intelligence presence. And he's sending people out based on their skill set and what's going on. So you've got just action. There's different things happening. People are going different places. You meet a new character that's, stepping into the Watchtower for the first time. Flash is giving him a pretty comedic tour because he's going at Flash speed and like stopping and saying something next. And it could have been cheesy, but it was done well. And one of the bigger issues or problems in this issue that the heroes are facing, this new guy is like he wants to help. But, Red Tornado's like, hey, with your skill set, you're not going to be much help. Excuse me. And then something happens that he can help. And the end of the issue is like, I hope I did okay. And they're like, hey, you saved a life. Like, you helped save a life. That's the goal. Like, that's, as heroes, that's what we're here to do, save lives. And I was like, it's refreshing to see that be the priority. Because you have so many times where heroes are like, whatever, stop the bad guy. And like all this collateral damage happens and people die, but we just don't acknowledge it. Tom King. So you have this hero, but there's a moment where they're like, hey, good job, kid. Like, just sit down, rest, shake off that adrenaline. And I wish they would have kind of just left it at that. But then the last page, you have this reveal like, oh no, he's here to kill everybody. And I was like, God damn it. So everything except for the last page, perfect. Then you get to the last page. Did you read this, or are you boycotting Wade?
I flipped through it. I could clearly tell Dan Mora put a lot of his focus on this issue. That's why I said earlier in the Superman book, like it looked like he kind of rushed through it. You can tell he was kind of probably focusing on this book here. But I got a lot of issues with it. It's not bad. I would say it's not great. I would say it's okay.
Yeah. For me, it was a solid, like a really solid start. And it didn't try too hard to beat anything, and that's what I appreciated. It was just an action book with superheroes, and our superheroes acted like superheroes, and they were likable, and they weren't dicks, and they weren't villains painted to be superheroes. Like, they were legitimate superheroes. So I will praise it for that. I don't know when he finished this compared to when the election happened, but we'll see what we get from it.
Yeah.
Also, I thought Black Lightning was better in this book than he was in his entire issue. So
yeah. Oh, the Black Lightning issues 1 and 2 have been bad. It's like, and like they start focusing on on his family and everything. I'm like, wait, is this a Black Lightning book? Can we focus on him, please? Just I'm tired. Like, okay, segue. I'm tired of this family shit in the books.
Yes.
Let's just get back to the core fucking character, then expand out upon that. Earn the right to have a family. No, just focus on the damn Black Lightning character.
Exactly. Theme Machine put King Baby at it again. Is that
Mark Waid?
Okay, yep. Oh, okay, yeah. I was thinking Tom King. I was like, wait, did I miss something? And then JK put the longer that image is up, the more I find Superman's front distracting. I mean, maybe. It could be worse. We're gonna move on to we're number 3, right? Is it number 3?
Yeah, number 3.
Your number 3 pick for the month of November is Green Lantern number 17, written by Jeremy Adams, art by Zermanico, with colors by Romulo Fajardo Jr. So this is another book, and this is one of the interesting ones where I think DC realized the error of their ways, where they had Jeremy Adams on the Flash. It was going really well. They pulled him. What were they thinking? And then you get to Green Lantern, and he's doing good stuff. And then they decide to do All In, where they kind of shift all the stories and kind of have a fresh launch. And they, I think, intelligently were like, hey, we're doing good shit over here. Let's not mess it up. And they're kind of bringing everything they've been doing in these Green Lantern books together. So this is the book that doesn't feel like a fresh start. It's just kind of coming in at this peak moment of almost like an event coming. Yeah.
It's amazing. This just really is a reflection upon the talent of Jeremy Adams. How he's, a good example, a comparison to this would be Jim Zub's Battle of the Blackstone, which is a fine event. But when you read something like this, this event, this feels so massive in scale. What he's been able to do in 2 to 3 issues, this is this is the playbook out of DC, where like this would be like line wide, this event. But what normally a lot of times event this size would hurt the storytellers, but no, he has masterfully told this massive event. And it is so much fun. It's so action packed, and there is no decompression at all. Take that word out of your vocabulary in the Green Lantern series. That does not exist. Everything moves so damn fast in this book. I love it, and this is probably the second to last. I think it's the second to last part of the event, and yeah, it has a wild cliffhanger. Yeah, and except with Jeremy Adams, I was going to bring up earlier, is that one thing I've noticed is that there are a lot of writers, quote unquote writers, who will get these big time gigs, and it almost feels like they haven't earned it. Like they've never really put in the time. They've never been in the trenches at DC working on all these books, all these series, where you'll get guys who just, people are coming out of nowhere and get Spider-Man or Batman out of nowhere. Jeremy has put in the time, the work to earn the top tier books. What he has done for Green Lantern, and what I'm going to say, what he's going to do for Aquaman coming out, what he's done for Flash Gordon, how he has not earned the right to be on the top tier books is beyond me. He is the superstar writer at DC Comics. He has earned it, and that's all I got to say about that.
I mean, yeah, I think he's earned it, and I think too, like after his Flash, what he's doing with the Green Lantern, what we're expecting from Aquaman, it's almost kind of like too like at this point, just give the man Justice League.
What the hell? What else does he have to do? I don't understand. Does he need to bring back Power Pack at Marvel to prove it? I don't know. Shit.
Give him Batman. Let him run with Batman for like 3 to 5 years. Let him tell a long form story. He can have fun with it or go dark, whatever he wants. After his Penguin, like I'm good with whatever the hell that guy wants to do. And then give him the Justice League at some point. Let him just tell big action, like big action opus stories.
He's like I said, he has proven he can do it.
Yeah, agreed.
And on top of that, okay, I know some will agree and some will disagree with what I'm going to say about this, but I believe Jeffrey Thorne did a lot of damage to Green Lantern, a lot of damage that almost ruined the lore and the character.
Right.
And thank God for Jeremy Adams fixing that shit show of what happened at the end. And he has really brought back Green Lantern to where it should be. And what he's done it masterfully. And really, the only other comparison I could think of, something like this, is what Jeff Johns did with Green Lantern back in 2004. He's fucking earned it. I don't know what the hell he's got to do, Josh. I mean, if I see some other dipshit on Batman or Superman, I'm gonna snap and be like, what does this guy have to do?
Yep. I wish I had an idea for who's coming on Batman after Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee, but
we all have theories, but I hope we're wrong.
Agreed.
I mean, the best case scenario is Philip Kennedy Johnson, from what I've heard, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. We shall see. Real quick, JK put not a Green Lantern fan or a Flash Gordon fan, but Adams makes both fun. Again, we kind of talked about that earlier. I don't think I've read anything from Jeremy Adams that I didn't enjoy or didn't think was great, and that's not easy.
No.
And Fiend Machine, but League of Comics Geeks comment sections are not fans of Jeremy Adams. Not surprising. Well, it's because he's not a man with a vagina, and it's because he's not a blue-haired, hairy-legged woman.
He doesn't pander. He doesn't have characters sitting down around and eating and just talking at great lengths.
What's crazy is he's also not like extreme in any way. He is the most middle of the road in terms of avoiding politics or any type of political leaning, and he just delivers good, entertaining stories.
I've met him twice. In both instances, he has been one of the friendliest guys I've ever met. Him and Jim Zub, and he's a normal family guy.
He's a big nerd.
And,
yeah,
yes,
I mean,
I guess he's just because he doesn't. He's not one of them. He's not boring.
Yeah, so JK put Adam seems to be able to find the passion for each project that he works on. So look, I will fully stand behind the statement that a lot of writers kind of get shafted because they get pitched a book and then they have to go write this story that was pitched to them that maybe isn't the best idea. However, I think if you're a good writer, and it's not always going to be the case, sometimes you're just going to miss the mark. But if you're a good writer, you can typically find something to help win. Like you can find something in a mess, be like, you know what, I'm going to focus on this because this feels like that's the story, and I'm going to try to drive that home. And I think Jeremy's one of those guys. I think he can take a pile of crap and make something out of it. And I'm not saying that they're constantly giving them a pile of crap, but I will say that Flash wasn't in the best position when he took over. It was better than it had been, but it wasn't the best. Green Lantern definitely was not in the best position. And then he's coming in with Aquaman, which, hey, might be a blessing, but you haven't really had a book for a while. But that's because the last few attempts at writing Aquaman have been so terribly bad that they stopped giving the character his own book. So, yeah, in that ways, he's taking a piece of shit and making something out of it. So
it's what a certain former president would say is taking chicken shit and turning into chicken salad.
Yes, indeed. Max, not a man with a vagina, laughing. Sorry, Max. We're going to move on to our number 2 picks for November 2024. Coming in at my number 2 for the month, I have G.I. Joe #1, the book that I did not let Drew talk about. So this is written by Joshua Williamson, art by Tom Riley, colors by Jordy Belair. I'm gonna start this off by saying, I started the show saying, "Hey, we had some solid debuts, but nothing. I didn't have as many strong books for the month of November as we've had previous months." And this is why I highlighted when we talked about your G.I. Joe number 311 versus this. I thought this was a solid book. In a lot of ways, strong, really action-packed, solid arc. You have moments of nice character work. Specifically when Duke is talking to who's his leader, his commander?
Oh, Commander Hawk.
Yes, there we go. I thought that was that was one of the better character moments, but overall it's it's a lot of exposition, and not in a bad way. They handle it well. Joshua Williamson does a solid job of introducing you to these characters, kind of setting up the plot, letting you know what's going on, giving you some substance, and then a lot of action. And I give it as a testament to Joshua Williams, because at the same time he had Duke, and if you read Duke, it's fucking excellent. But you didn't have to. You could come into this blind. You could go without reading any of the other Energon G.I. Joe stuff, and you're fine. So I will praise them for that. Solid start. I'm really excited to see where the series goes, because I think aside from one title, this has been a really, really fun grouping.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun reading this. Yeah, this I was very, very nervous reading this because going into it, because I'm like, I wasn't sure. Like, how should I say this? Joshua Williamson, he has been fantastic on what he's done with the Energon universe.
Yes.
Duke, Cobra Commander, I thought was fucking hilarious. I love that series. It felt like a Quentin Tarantino Cobra Commander series, and Duke in his own right, fantastic. Yeah, he had a great voice for each book, and this one, yeah, he did a kick-ass job writing a kick-ass story here, and it was really a great, pleasant surprise, and tying it all into Energon universe, showing the ties, what their mission is, who their enemies are, and a great cliffhanger. Yeah, I am all for this. Yeah, I'll be checking out issue 2. I can't wait. It's very interesting to have a G.I. Joe Real American Hero and a G.I. Joe #1 new series going out. But that's a great thing. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, look, we have a million Batman books, so why not?
Absolutely.
JK put Williamson is kind of the opposite of Adams. He does best on projects he has a passion for, like Robin, Duke, Judge. Look, yeah. I think Williamson was someone who for a while was desperate to get projects and would just take on whatever. And then you kind of saw the mess of he had books, and then they would start fantastic for the first issue or two, and then kind of get mediocre and then completely fall apart because he could never stick his landing. So when they announced Energon and they announced that he was writing these books, I was like, oh God, it's dead on arrival. And then he proved me wrong 2 books in a row, and we're going on to book number 3. So I'm happy to see him being successful, and I hope he continues to just focus and deliver. So, and controversial comment here, Max. Oh, come on, Josh, you didn't like Kelly Sue and Aquaman. It wasn't fantastic, but what I disliked most wasn't her fault. Anytime you step onto a book as a new writer, and then your publisher's like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have the character have amnesia, not remember who they are. I would be like, fuck you. I'm not writing this. But it's still better than the shit that came after it. The whole Aquamanzas? What?
Aquamanzi?
The one that they did that was Arthur and what was the gay Aquaman?
Yeah. Aquaboy.
Aqualad, yeah. Aquaboy. Yeah. Oh God. That was rough. So yeah, Breen. Look, we have Breen in the house. Good evening, kids.
Woo.
And then he's getting me for my language. Yep. Look, we're an hour and a half in. It's fine at this point. Jackson Hyde, thank you. Yeah. You know what? Really great character. They did incredible things on Young Justice, and
True.
then they tried to bring him into comics, and it was just not even close. Like, caliber on Young Justice is far beyond whatever Jackson Hyde ever was in the comics. So
Absolutely.
sad times. We are moving on to your number 2 pick, which is Feral, number 8, written by Tony Fleegs, art by Trish Forstner, with colors by Tony Rodriguez. I'm gonna let you talk. I'm just gonna say there was a point in Feral where I felt like it was kind of treading water, or it seemed like it might start treading water, and then this issue was like, oh shit. So
yeah. Oh, I fucking love this issue. So I do know some people have been kind of knocking Feral because it hadn't been like Stray Dogs with the suspense and the tension. Well, hey, you called down the thunder. You get it. You got it in this book, this issue. This issue of Feral was straight up just like Stray Dogs tonally. Yeah. The suspense, the terror, and the tension is just gradually building throughout this issue toward the payoffs that we get. So our cats are in this house. They think they're safe in it, but nothing is quite what it seems. Appearances are deceptive, Josh.
Oh yeah. Don't look under the couch.
Yeah. As you're reading this and you're observing the layout and things in the house, you know something or many things are wrong. There's a lot wrong with the situation, and it's straight up terrifying because these homes and homeowners actually do exist. And if you've seen Hoarders, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Trish Forstner, she did such a great job conveying the confusion in the cats, the tension, the terror, and the cult-like mentality as well from the cats who are already living there. Yeah. And this is, in my opinion, the best issue of the series, and I highly encourage everyone give this series a shot. If you're not, fix yourself. I hate cats, and I love this series. This issue was perfect. I mean, like I said, if you wanted to read Stray Dogs again with that terror and tension, this issue has it.
Yes, I completely agree. Was it issue 6 or issue 7 that was like Patch's point of view?
I think that was 6.
Okay, so that issue for me, in a lot of ways, helped anchor this, because I was having a lot of fun with the series, but that issue helped anchor it because it was the right kind of emotional that you're just like, I hate that this is happening. But I needed like a gut punch. And when you get to this issue, and oh god, I'm blanking on the young cat's name.
Patch? Is it Patch?
Patch is the one that got bit in issue 1. But there's the young one that's got the little mohawk. He's the young cat, and I can't think of his name now.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
he's been missing. We come back in context. So much of this is done like just masterclass writing, and look, we've given Trish a ton of praise throughout the book, and I think this is the first issue that Tony like really stepped up to match. And I don't say that disrespectfully. I just say like the scripts have been pretty straightforward and just laying the narrative and focusing on plot. But I feel like this is the one, and it's exactly what you're talking about. There's so many elements that if you just read through it at a brisk pace, you're gonna be like, yeah, okay, cool. But you have the cult-like mentality of the cats with this individual in this house where they're like, no, she feeds us. Like she feeds us. And she's sweet and she cares about us. But then you start having the lines like, oh, we can pee, we can do whatever we want. Like we can just pee and poop anywhere.
Yeah.
Like anywhere in the house. And then you start seeing that there's trash all over the house. And then you start realizing like, okay, yeah, this is a hoarder type situation. Or is this almost like a Alzheimer's situation where like when people get that or dementia, they just kind of forget about doing their normal things that you do, cleaning your house. Like, and I almost felt like there was slight little tinges of that, which is just terrifying. But the lack of this human being, which you don't really focus on, she's just kind of, you never really fully see her. But also just the horror of like her being completely unaware. It
Yeah.
seems unaware. I mean, aware enough to do certain things, and I'm trying not to give away certain plot points, but aware enough to do certain things, but also unaware enough to realize the badness. And you've got Elsie, who is like completely aware and is like from page one is like something isn't right. And you have this like tension through the whole book. And one of the things I saw right away, like I was like, I bet, you know, this is behind this. And I was right. However, I mentioned Don't Look Under the Couch. That was something I didn't see coming. And I was like, that's a whole new level of horror that I didn't expect. So
it is, but I'll say this: I instantly kind of laughed because one of my favorite comedies, one of my favorite it's a guilty pleasure comedy, is Grandma's Boy. Came out in the early 2000s. There's a scene where the main character, he's doing chores around the house. He's cleaning, he's vacuuming underneath the couch, and he finds like 2 dead cats underneath the couch.
Oh God, this house probably smells so bad.
Yeah. We see like they could piss and poop anywhere, unclean dishes, and they're eating, just dumping food on the floor. I'm like, yeah, it's a hoarder house.
Yeah, like wet food too. Oh, it's so gross, so gross. No. Listen, I'm a pet owner. I love pets. People were like, why do you buy so many candles? Because I have pets. Like, I clean my house. I clean nonstop. I've got 3 dogs. But still, I've got air fresheners. I've got candles. No, I've got Ollie and I've got two little other munchkins. But they're, long story, they're kind of their own pack. They do their own thing. Ollie is like, he is like mine in terms of how he acts. So, but yeah, great issue. It brought a whole new kind of level of anxiety to the book, other than this, like, you know, rabies outbreak that's kind of like a viral thing. So really enjoyed it. Good pick. I'm glad this book is doing so well, and I'm curious to see where this comes in our top 10 list. So
yeah.
Going on to our number 1 picks for the month. These are the tried and true slam dunks. I'm surprised, which I'm going to give you benefit of the doubt, because I think you just may have missed this. I don't know. Or maybe we have different opinions. But coming in number 1 for me was Rockefellers number 1, written by Peter J. Tomasi, with art by Francis Manapul and colors by Rob Lee. You didn't care for it?
I thought it was all right.
I loved it.
How should I say this? I thought it was Francis Manapul's best work. I am not the biggest Francis Manapul fan. Initially, when I saw his stuff on Flash back in the day, it turned me off. I did not read Flash because of his artwork. But I will say I love this style he's doing. I think he's gotten a hell of a lot better. He's taken a quantum leap in his art. And I thought the story was all right. You know, I wouldn't say it was great. I wouldn't say it was bad. I thought, yeah, it's a solid start. I felt like it kind of meandered around the halfway point when you had the family having the cookout and everything. I'm like, where the fuck are we going with this? But yeah, it takes an interesting kind of turn toward the end. So I thought it was all right.
Okay, well, you're wrong, and it's fine. First off, I want to start with Francis Manapul, because I do like his art, and I liked it on Flash, and I liked it on Detective Comics, but it was different here, and I was really trying to figure out what was going on. And you know what I think it is? He's gotten
better.
Well, I think he's gotten better, but he tends to color his own work, and he didn't color his own work here.
Oh,
because he's usually got those really bright, vibrant, like kaleidoscope type colors, and it's unique and it helps it stand out. But like, I was looking at this art because I didn't pay attention to who was doing art. I just kind of jumped into reading, because when you read 1 million books a week, that's just, it happens sometimes.
Yes.
And I was looking at the art being like, man, this looks familiar. It feels familiar, but I can't put my finger on it. So I flipped over to the front cover and I was like, Francis Manapul. And I was like, okay, I see certain, like the face, I see certain things in his faces that it clicked. But then I was like, it just feels different. And then I finally landed on colors. As for the book itself, I thought it was a great number one. I mean, right away you can see you're dealing with roughly 6 characters that you're getting introduced to, plus a new world. Pete Tomasi throws you right into the story. And you kind of have an action sequence. And there's a moment where they're being hunted. The family's being chased and hunted by whatever that robot creature thing was that was a humanoid, because they're in the future. And one of the characters sacrifices themselves to save the family. And it was, I don't want to give anything away, but it was definitely like one of the leaders of the family in a way. So it's nice to see that definitive action, but also the awareness from the other adults to be like, we're gonna live because of this. Like, we cannot stop. And you do have kids and the kids are the ones that have the moments of like, wait, where's this character? And it's just the dad just says no. Like, that's all he says. And it's not this overwritten melodramatic of, it's just no. And then the character tells another character privately, this happened. And it's just matter of fact. But for me, it's what I think Tomasi does really well. I think he writes the family dynamic incredibly well, and I loved it. Now, you mentioned the whole barbecue thing. There was a split second where I feel like, yes, I could see where it felt like it was meandering, but then it became clear to me, like in the middle of that scene of, okay, they're stuck in this time, and they're just like, well, I guess we should try to make the most of it, and that's what they're trying to do. But it's so painfully obvious, like this is not where their heart is or what they want to do, and that made it hard. And then you have the kids that are like, whatever, we're gonna like party it up. And you have the son with this device from the future that's like the tsunami bomb. Like it was fun. And then you have the weird thing at the end with the testicle, which it wasn't a testicle, but it looked like a testicle.
Yeah.
But it's the reason they're getting hunted. But they're talking to what looks like the dad's brother, who's still in the future, and this family's like hiding out of time or in a different time because of whatever this thing is. So I'm on board. Love the family dynamics. There was solid action. I want to see what this like hunter robot thing is. And I hope we get some more good family moments, but also Pete can deliver intensity when it's needed, and I hope we get some of that. So I had expected this to be more lighthearted than it was, because people have said this was the family friendly book, and when you've got a character sacrificing themselves and then you watch them die slowly, I was like, well, all right, wasn't expecting that in the first like 10 pages, but there we go. So
didn't see that coming.
I didn't see that coming. But yeah, good. I thought it was an excellent book. I think I'm not going to say it's the best Ghost Machine book, because I don't think it's the best.
No.
But I think it's easily the most relatable for general audiences. So, which may sound weird, but what can you do? Drew disagrees. Let us look. This is where you have to let us know if you read this. Who's right, me or Drew? Just put it in. That way, if I'm right, I can rub it in his face. I'm just going to take screenshots of the comments and send it to him. So even if you disagree, just put that I'm right in the comments so I can troll him at work tomorrow. Drew, look, see, Max agrees. This was pretty good, and by pretty good, Max means excellent. And then he put, I feel like Tomasi does family dynamics really well. I agreed. And after watching how so many people write relationships or families, God, it was so refreshing.
Yeah.
We have JK coming in and put, oh, now Rockefellers was so great. Thank you, JK. Thank you. I thought Hornsby and Halo was great. I haven't read Hornsby and Halo yet, so that's coming. Yeah, we'll see. I haven't jumped on it. And yeah, see, here we go. He does kids well. Tomasi does kids well. They feel like kids, not characters of kids. Agreed. So good stuff. Listen. We don't talk about Bambi, okay? We don't talk about it. Sad. It's probably why I'm gay. We're gonna go on to your number one pick for the month of November 2024. So the overall best book to come out of November 2024 is Universal Monsters Frankenstein #4, written by Michael Walsh, art by Michael Walsh, and then colors, he got an assist from Tony Marie Griffin. I love this book, but I'm going to let you gush on it.
Yeah, and I love this issue. Yeah, I love this series. This issue focuses on the eyes more than anything. How we observe the world and people. Who do we see as the monsters? Is it who we think it is or someone else? The art in this issue is flipping perfect. Walsh does a great job conveying the sadness, the fear, and the anger in everyone, from the townsfolk to the boy to the monster to Henry Frankenstein. And on top of that, we have a perfect, heartfelt ending to this miniseries. And so I'm going to say this again. I know people disagree with this, but I'm going to say it because it's fucking true. Dracula and Creature from the Black Lagoon have been adapted to very, very lazy, mediocre, and underwhelming results. But Frankenstein is the North Star to guide creators in how to adapt a story correctly. Strongest recommends for Frankenstein. And if you're not reading this, fix yourself. And actually, I'm going to see if I can try some and buy some of his OA for this series, because his art in this is amazing.
Yes. So I read the first issue of Dracula. It wasn't bad. It was just boring. Maybe the overall book is better. I don't know. I thought the art was promising. I may or may not get to it before the end of the year. We'll see. Red Creature from the Black Lagoon. To me, out of the three, that was the worst out of what I've read of them. This book, for me, I came into it not expecting anything because of those two books and was blown away. I think Walsh is potentially one of the big up and coming names in comics. The fact that he can write incredibly well, but also deliver solid art. I think he's got a bright future. This cover is freaking fantastic. And it's, I don't want to say terrifying, it's just unsettling. Like the eyes, and yet somehow the human eyes are scarier than Frankenstein's eyes. And I get that's the point, but it's the little details like that are on literally every single page of this book. And you could tell he really thought through. He worked his story, both from the script narratively to the visual storytelling on the page. And I think because he's pulling double duty, he doesn't overwrite. And a lot of writers tend to overwrite in case their artist isn't as good or doesn't convey the story well. But because he trusts his own art well enough, like, you get a freaking magnificent story. And Max is coming in saying this may be on my list somewhere for my best of 2024. I will say it's definitely on. I won't say which list, but it's definitely on my list. Meaning, it's in the top. It's going to be on the top show. Now, whether it's top 10 or honorable mention, I'm not going to reveal that. But I will say there is no question that this was involved. And 4 issues, it's perfect, but also criminal. Like, I want so much more, but I think part of the reason it worked so well was because they used this format. Each issue was kind of from a different perspective. Like, there's so much praise I could give this book, and I hope people read it. Like, I hope a lot of people read it.
Same.
And I hope it kind of just lingers and keeps making its way in people's graces year after year, because it is that good. Perfect pick. I couldn't have picked a better pick. Just wonderful stuff. So kudos, senor.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up tonight?
Not right off the top of my head. I would say just that everyone come, if you're not on Whatnot yet, get a membership on Whatnot. Pop into the live auction on Sunday night. See if you can find something cool that I worked on in the past. Like I said, got some old school Born of Bloods, the Kickstarter editions. Got the Ariel Diaz, some Shikaris, and I'll have some Unholy Nightmares for sale as well. I've got some Catfight versus Naughty and Nice. I have some Red Sonjas I worked on. So yeah, it'd be a fun night.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have. Well, I do have some older stuff, but it's not right here where I can grab it. but I do have some stuff that you've worked on. Not saying these things will be there. I'm just saying I have some stuff that you've worked on that's so no, I've said this before, but I think you're getting better and better at your craft. I got to read issue 2 of a book that may or may not have just been shown there. And I gave you equally high praise on it as the first issue, and I'm really excited just to see more people kind of discover your work and go.
There's nothing, there's a feeling I get, when I write something and I read it, I reread it, I reread it. I read, before I sent it to you, Josh, I read through that script at least 10 times and myself. And I'm like, and I'm saying to myself, I keep saying to myself, I was like, you know what? This is actually pretty solid.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to believe it. So I'm like,
I think I gave you like 3 notes total, 4 notes total. Like 2 or 3 of them were grammatical notes of like, hey, just, and only 1 story note, not even a story note, just a note on dialogue from 1 line on 1 page. And I just went, hey, I think honestly, a little less is more here. And that's it. Yeah. Like, it was more so like, take this sentence out and you're good. Yeah. Which, you do that with, but, I'm usually one to give you like, I send it in notes. Here's my list of notes. So I will say this is the second time that I've been like, I really don't have notes. And I think it's one, just again, a testament to you growing as a writer. I think what's going to be a lot of fun is people getting to see you branch out and show different, you step into different genres. Because you're doing a fantastic job, so keep it up.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's just something like this. I know I talked to Steve, and like we're gonna try to really push this one out to really a lot of reviewers and different sites. We want to try to get the Heidi McDonald's to read this. We want to try to get the Rich Johnsons to read this.
Yeah.
The Ventures and Poor Taste people to read this, but it's just
why
it's just get for as much exposure as we can for this, because he feels strongly about this. A lot of people feel strongly about it. A lot of people feel strongly about it. We feel like they would like this. So
it's just it's different. But who you need to make sure you get it is Rockin' Robbie. That's who needs it.
If there's anyone who can tell me if it's very poignant and nuanced, it's Rockin' Robbie.
Well, we do have connections with someone that does stuff with Rockin' Robbie on occasion.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. Get it into as many hands as you can. And just it's fantastic. And that's not knocking anything else. I love Silent Nights. I love Unholy Nightmare. There's just something uniquely special about this project that I'm like, wow. So yeah.
I'm thinking about everything I'm writing. I know we gotta wrap this up. I'm thinking about everything I'm doing right now. I'm writing like a I Spit on Your Grave space badass babe story. I'm writing femme fatale stories. I'm writing horror superhero stories. Yep. I'm writing a mob superhero type vigilante story.
Yep.
And then I got this heartfelt, World War II drama piece I'm doing, and it's like, Jesus, I'm all over the fucking place.
Yeah,
it's insane.
You've got some schizophrenia going on, man. You need to work on that.
Yeah, I just sent some pages to my uncle. And I'm like, hey, check out this pages from this new book I'm doing. He's like, do you ever take a fucking break? I'm like,
yeah, no.
No.
I don't know how you do it, but I'm glad you do it, because we need good comics out there. And my genuine hope is that you just continue to elevate and grow, and that more eyes kind of get turned on you. And I know that might mean, in the future I can have you for the shows, but that would be the best problem ever. So yeah.
It's like you could be the Pat McAfee, and I could be the Aaron Rodgers coming on.
Oh, hell yeah. I'll do that. Why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys are free Sunday night, go check it out. Get some of Drew's stuff. Again, there's super rare covers out there that are selling on other places for 3 figures. Almost at 6 figures. That'd be bomb.com. But yeah, good stuff. So go get it. Drew, wrapping up, is there? Oh, Max, rockin' Robbie. Yeah, let me know. I might be able to get this to comicbook.com too, because there's still some people there that I have some association with. Jenna, yeah, we'll talk after.
Okay, cool.
What if people want to find you, where can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Dolan Waddick. You can find me on Instagram, Dolan_Waddick. I'm always promoting and showing different YouTube channels I'm on, talking, reviewing comics, and or pushing and promoting art. Some of the projects I'm doing with Marat Michaels. Yeah, just that's all I post and promote.
Heck yes. As for myself, you can find me at Joshua L. McDonald on Twitter if you want to kind of see what's going on with my personal life. If you want to keep up with comics and nerd stuff, go to at ByPopped. Jesus, at ByPopped on Twitter. And then, of course, we should be here pretty much every Tuesday. I will say, I know for the past month or so, I've been a little quieter on here. Had a lot of stuff going on. Death in the family, chopped my finger off, got sick. It was all so much fun. We were originally going to try to have a pre-recorded show for next week, but realistically, trying to pull a team together to do something is going to be rough. So I'm going to say, enjoy the holidays, have a happy holidays. We're going to be coming back in 2025, jam-packed. Marvelous Monday is coming back. So we're excited to get back on the train with that. I've got episodes that are queued up, ready to go. And then we'll get back to our regular Tuesday rotations of Comic Book Club, Top 5 Comics. We'll come in with Culture Popped, and we have some other surprises coming. But a lot of good stuff coming. And JK, no, MVP does not have his monetization back. We are still fighting that fight. I say it's him, but we're all kind of like cheerleading him from the sidelines. So hopefully that gets resolved soon. And then, as we've discussed this entire stream, early January on Max's channel, we're going to be discussing our best and worst comics of the year. So we're going to have a stream that's for the worst. Get ready. I'm going to have some conniptions talking and revisiting some of these books where I'm going to just unload. And if Max does get remonetized, he's going to get demonetized immediately. Yep. Between Kyle and I, it's going to happen. And then after that, we'll have the top books. And I can't stress this enough. I'm so excited to talk about so many good books. And it's like one of those situations where I know there's going to be stuff that I'm upset that I'm not fitting on my list, because literally trying to narrow this year down to the 20 best books is I'm struggling. But I know what I miss, one of these other three are going to pick up, so I can then be like, yes, thank you. And if they don't put something on their list that I don't have on my list, I'm going to tell them they're all retarded because they didn't. But anyways, fun times. We will see you guys soon, and I hope everyone has a good night. Have a Merry Christmas, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Get the fuck